Imagine this for a second. You walk into a classroom, maybe one you remember from your own school days, but nearly half the desks are just empty.
Mm-hmm.
Or think about a small city, full of life, and then suddenly realizing that a whole chunk of its youngest people, its future really, has kind of vanished.
It's a really unsettling image.
It is, and that unsettling image is basically what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
It captures this really big mystery unfolding right now in Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah, as of July 2025, the numbers are showing something quite stark.
Stark is the word. Over 2.66 lakh. That's more than 266,000 students seem to have just, well, disappeared from the school enrollment lists.
It's a huge number, more than just, a statistical blip. It feels like a critical moment for education there.
Absolutely. So our mission today in this deep dive is to try and unravel why this is happening. We're going to look at the figures, the official explanations.
Which are interesting in themselves.
Right. And contrast that with the concerns we're hearing from parents, from educators, people actually on the ground. And we'll explore the complex factors that might be feeding into this.
We'll try to piece it together. Facts, insights, and hopefully get to the heart of what's going on.
Exactly. Let's get started.
Because this isn't just about numbers on a page, is it? It's about a potential challenge that could affect a whole generation.
Let's really unpack these numbers then, because they are honestly pretty shocking.
They really are.
The big picture shows a total drop of 266,860 students. That's across classes 1 right through to 12.
And that's comparing this year to last year.
Exactly. Last year, the total was 7,869,714. This year, 7,602,854.
Wow.
Just think about that. 266,000 students. It's like I said earlier, a whole small city's worth of young people just not on the rolls anymore.
That scale is, it's unprecedented for the region recently. Outside of perhaps major structural changes, it really points towards something systemic happening, doesn't it?
It feels that way. And when you drill down into where the hits are heaviest, well, it gets even more concerning.
Okay, where are we seeing the biggest drops?
Right at the start. Class 1, that's where the alarm bells are really ringing.
The entry point.
Precisely. We're looking at 1.26 lakh. That's 126,000 fewer students starting Class 1 this year compared to last.
126,000. Just in first grade.
Yeah. The number fell from 6.87 lakh down to just 5.60 lakh. I mean, if you have that many fewer kids even starting school, what does that mean down the line?
That's incredibly worrying. Class 1 is foundational, isn't it? Literacy, numeracy, just getting into the rhythm of school. A drop like that at the very beginning, it creates a ripple effect that could last for decades.
You think about the workforce in 15, 20 years.
Exactly. Fewer educated individuals, potentially more social challenges. It's like finding a crack in the foundation of a building.
And it doesn't stop with Class 1, unfortunately. Higher education is feeling it too.
Oh, really? So older students as well?
Yes. Look at government junior colleges' first-year admissions. They dropped from about 127,000 last year to just over 99,000 this year.
So that's nearly, 28,000 fewer students there?
Almost 28,000, yeah. And private junior colleges, they saw a drop of over 62,000 students.
62,000.
Wow. Even the aided colleges are down, though by a smaller number, about 1,300. But the point is, it's not just one level or one type of school.
It seems like the whole ecosystem is shrinking, contracting somehow, like it's shedding students across the board.
Which brings us right back to that key question.
Where do they all go?
Exactly. The million-dollar question. Now, usually when you see numbers like this, you expect or hope for some clear answers from the authorities.
A straightforward explanation.
But this is where it gets complicated. The official story seems quite different from what people are experiencing.
That kind of disconnect between official data narratives and ground reality isn't uncommon in these situations, unfortunately. The initial response is always crucial for public trust.
Well, the Commissioner of School Education, Vijayaramaju, he's basically denying there's any decline at all.
Denying it with those numbers. How?
He's attributing the discrepancies, all 266,000 of them, to ongoing issues with generating something called APAAR IDs and with Aadhaar verification.
Okay, so APAAR ID is that new automated student ID, and Aadhaar is the national biometric ID. So he's saying it's a tech problem, a data sync issue.
That's the line. He's suggesting these students aren't actually gone. Their digital records just haven't caught up yet.
Right. I mean, technical glitches happen, data lags happen, especially with new systems like APR. That's plausible to a point.
But for over 250,000 students. all at once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where it becomes, shall we say, a little hard to swallow for many, suggesting that so many records simultaneously hit a snag. It feels like a stretch. Like, the analogy of everyone losing their digital wallet on the same day just seems too neat.
It does strain belief, doesn't it?
Mm.
Meanwhile, you got the education minister, Nara Lokesh, talking about a different approach, a new digital tracking initiative.
Ah, okay. What's the idea there?
The plan is to create a digital footprint for every single student. The stated goal is better monitoring of attendance and academic progress.
Well, on the face of it, better data could be useful. A good system might help spot kids who are struggling or frequently absent much earlier.
True. Potential for early intervention.
Huge potential, yes. But there's always a but, isn't there? It immediately raises questions about privacy.
Definitely. Surveillance concerns?
Yeah. Is it genuinely about educational support? Or does it risk becoming, overly intrusive? The safeguards around that data would be absolutely critical. How is it used? Who sees it?
It's a very fine line. But while the officials are debating data and digital futures, parents, they're living the reality now. And they sound, frankly, quite frustrated.
Understandably so. What are they asking for?
Their demands are very clear. They want a white paper, a detailed official report explaining what's going on. They want an emergency enrollment drive to get kids back into school. And they want an independent investigation.
That's quite a strong set of demands. It really speaks to a breakdown in trust, doesn't it, between the families and the education department?
It really does. There was this one quote from a parent that just stuck with me. They said something like, "My child was all set for class 1, excited even, but the school just said, 'Sorry, no room.' What's happening? Is education playing hide and seek with our kids?"
Wow, that really hits home, doesn't it? It takes it from abstract numbers right down to a child, a family facing a closed door. That erosion of trust is maybe the biggest hurdle here.
It feels critical. If parents don't trust the system, why would they entrust their children to it?
Precisely. That emotional side, the human impact, underlines why finding answers and rebuilding confidence is so urgent.
Okay, so if the official data glitch explanation feels incomplete, let's explore other potential reasons. Why might these students be vanishing from the rolls? There seem to be several possibilities floating around.
Well, first off, we probably can't discount the lingering effects of the pandemic, even now in mid-2025. Potentially, yeah. COVID caused massive disruption. Attendance patterns changed. Some parents might still be hesitant about sending kids back, maybe worried about health or just having gotten used to different routines.
And online learning wasn't really a perfect substitute, was it?
Yeah.
Especially for younger kids.
Not at all. It lacked the social interaction, the direct engagement, so some fallout from that period might still be playing out.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Then there's the economic pressure. That's a big one.
Right. Cost of living, jobs.
Exactly. Andhra Pradesh has faced economic challenges. For families really struggling to make ends meet, school, even if technically free, has associated costs, uniforms, books, maybe transport.
Things that add up.
They really do, and sometimes, sadly, families might feel they have no choice but to pull children out of school, maybe to help with work, or just to cut down on expenses. Education becomes a luxury they feel they can't afford.
Especially if they also have doubts about the quality of the education being offered.
That's the next crucial point, quality concerns. We hear complaints, don't we, about teaching standards sometimes, in both government and, frankly, some private schools, too.
Yeah, overcrowded classrooms, maybe outdated teaching methods.
If parents feel their child isn't actually learning much or isn't engaged, they might think, what's the point? They might look for alternatives, homeschooling if they can manage it, maybe private tutors, or sometimes they just disengage from the formal system altogether.
Makes you wonder about the curriculum itself, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is it inspiring or just rote learning?
A very valid question. If the perceived value isn't there, participation naturally drops. This also connects to another factor, migration.
Families moving away.
Yes. It's a significant factor often overlooked in these discussions. People move for jobs, for better opportunities. Andhra Pradesh has seen people migrating to other states.
And obviously they take their children with them.
Naturally. So some portion of this decline is almost certainly due to families simply relocating out of the state. It's a direct impact on local school numbers.
Okay, so pandemic effects, economic hardship, quality concerns, migration. What else?
Well, we do have to circle back, at least partly, to the commissioner's point about documentation.
The APAAR IDs and Aadhaar again?
Yes. It's possible that genuine technical hiccups are contributing. Maybe not the whole 266,000, but perhaps a portion of it. If the new systems aren't capturing data correctly, or if there are issues linking records.
It could artificially deflate the numbers, make
Mm.
it look like students dropped out when they're actually still in class, just not properly registered in the new system yet.
Exactly. It could be part of the explanation, creating an inaccurate picture. It's a complex mix.
It certainly is. And it's frustrating when the data feels so out of sync with what people believe is happening. But there is potentially clearer data coming, right?
Yes, we're waiting for the UDISE Plus data. That's the Unified District Information System for Education Plus. It's generally considered the most comprehensive national database.
And when is that expected?
The final figures for this academic year should be available by September 30th, 2025. So in a couple of months.
Okay, so that might give us a more definitive picture.
Hopefully. It should help clarify the situation, but until then, these initial figures are, quite rightly, causing a lot of worry.
And it's worth remembering, this isn't the first time Andhra Pradesh has seen a big enrollment shift.
That's right. Back in 2015, there was also a significant drop.
But that was largely linked to the state's bifurcation, wasn't it? The creation of Telangana.
Exactly. There's a clear, major structural reason back then. The state was literally divided, assets were split, population shifted. It was disruptive, but understandable.
Whereas this time,
This time, the reasons seem much more complex, more multifaceted. There isn't one single event you can point to. That makes it a deeper mystery and, honestly, a harder problem to solve.
it really does. You know, thinking about education and its importance, it sometimes helps to look back. India has such an incredible history of learning,
Absolutely.
like Nalanda University, way back in the 5th century, in what's now Bihar.
An amazing place, a beacon of learning across Asia.
Right, attracting scholars from everywhere. It really emphasized a holistic, comprehensive education.
And it's interesting, the word university itself, its Latin root universitas, means the whole, the total.
The whole, I like that.
It implies that complete, well-rounded education. Maybe reconnecting with that idea, that spirit of educating the whole person, could offer some inspiration now.
That's a great perspective.
Yeah.
So bring it back to the present crisis. What's the path forward? What needs to happen now? It feels like we need some concrete actions.
Absolutely. First and foremost, transparency.
The white paper that parents are demanding.
Exactly. The education department really needs to release a detailed, honest report explaining these numbers, acknowledging discrepancies, outlining the known factors. Without that openness, rebuilding trust is just impossible.
Makes sense. And alongside transparency.
Proactive efforts to get kids back in school. Emergency enrollment drives.
Not just opening the doors, but actively going out.
Yes. Community outreach, engaging directly with parents, explaining the importance of education, maybe addressing some of their concerns about safety or costs. We almost need a campaign, like you suggested, a Find the Missing Students effort to reconnect with families.
I like that. What about the longer term?
Long term, it has to be about improving quality. Seriously investing in teacher training, ongoing effective training, updating curricula to make them more relevant, more engaging than just rote learning.
And ensuring schools actually have the resources they need. Books, materials, decent facilities.
Critically important. It's not just about getting numbers up. It's about making the education worthwhile, making kids want to be there, and making parents confident in sending them.
Okay, and the economic side. We talked about families struggling.
That needs addressing directly. Things like targeted financial assistance, maybe scholarships for vulnerable families, expanding free meal programs. Removing those economic barriers can make a huge difference for attendance and retention. It might seem small, but it's vital.
What about that digital tracking system the minister mentioned?
Well, if it's implemented thoughtfully, it could help. Smart monitoring focused on identifying students needing support could be beneficial.
But the privacy safeguards have to be paramount.
Absolutely essential. It needs to be about support, not surveillance. The implementation details are everything there. Avoiding that surveillance hub perception is key.
Right. And finally,
And maybe this is the most crucial piece, community involvement.
bringing everyone together.
Yes, education isn't just the government's job, it's a collective responsibility. Parents, teachers, local community leaders, NGOs, everyone needs to be part of the conversation and part of the solution, empowering communities to take ownership.
A grassroots effort, not just top-down directives.
Precisely. It has to be both.
So, to wrap up, this huge drop in student enrollment in Andhra Pradesh, it's clearly a major wake-up call.
It really is.
It's much more than just a weird statistic. It signals something fundamental might be wrong, something that needs urgent and really comprehensive attention.
And while steps are being discussed, it feels like much more is needed to rebuild that essential trust with parents and ensure every child actually gets the quality education they deserve.
Because, as you said earlier, this isn't just about numbers. Every single one of those 266,000 missing students is a lost opportunity.
A lost opportunity for that child, definitely, to reach their potential, but also a loss for the community, for the nation, losing out on their future skills and contributions.
It really is about the future fabric of society. So maybe the thought to leave everyone with is this. How do we, collectively, as a community, make absolutely sure that no child's future is just left to chance? How do we ensure that the promise of education isn't just a promise, but a tangible, meaningful reality for every single child,
Yeah.
especially when the numbers themselves are telling us we have a serious problem?
That's the challenge, isn't it? Keeping that conversation and the action going